Hello, everyone. My name is Katja, and you're watching The Funded Wave. Today, we have Vladislav as our guest. Vladislav is our trader, and we have a few questions for you, Vladislav. Vladislav, to start, please introduce yourself and tell us a little about you.
Hello, I'm Vladislav. I'm from Belarus and I live in Prague. I'm engaged in trading. Consciously, it's probably been about 4 months, but in total, it's been about a year and a half.
How does your approach to trading differ from others? How would you describe it? Briefly?
Well, my primary approach is about patiently waiting for my optimal setup. That is, strictly following my trading strategy, I guess. It might look similar to everyone else's, but the main thing is to stay unemotional, to keep a cool head. I try to approach trading without letting emotions take over.
Tell us, what do you base your approach on, and who did you learn from, if you can share?
I learned from three distinct and influential people. The first and perhaps most significant was my dedicated mentor, a fellow classmate who had already been deeply immersed in the intricate world of trading for about, I believe, at that particular time, a solid 2 years. My very first comprehensive course in this field was taken approximately 2 years prior to that, and subsequently, I continued my extensive studies and learning journey with DT. And the third and most successful course was with QTF with Roma, a mentor who, so to speak, fine tuned my he made me fall in love with trading even more, immersed me even deeper into it. He gave me some really great tools, thanks to which I was able to pass the prop firm evaluation, the first one right during the course itself, while I was still studying. And already after finishing the course, or maybe towards the end, I passed the challenge at your prop firm.
Super, congratulations. That's awesome. Please share with us. What do you trade, and why do you choose these particular markets?
For the most significant part of my trading activities, I primarily focus on trading various stocks, specifically including the prominent Gear 40 and the dynamic NASDAQ. Occasionally, I also engage in the trading of precious gold, but this occurs only on very rare and infrequent occasions. It is certainly not a primary or central priority in my overall trading strategy. Yeah, it's not a priority. Why did you choose these particular markets? Because they're more volatile. And well, the price reaches your targets pretty quickly, so you don't have to wait it out for a long time. Since I trade intraday and in Roma's comprehensive course, it was explicitly not about holding trades for an extended period of time or dragging things out for absolutely no clear or discernible reason at all. We have clear targets, we know where we need to go, and those targets are reached fairly quickly. But a very fast asset reaches its target on stocks like those in the ERC40, NASDAQ, and gold. But with gold, there's always the risk that you could get stopped out or something else could happen and you end up taking a loss, and that's it. It gets disappointing. Yeah, I don't trade Forex, meaning those currency pairs to be more precise, because sometimes it takes a long time for the price to reach the target. Well, that's probably it. That's my main point about this. I don't get the price to where I want it very quickly.
What do you mean by get the price there? Explain for those who are new to trading.
For example, you enter a position and you have certain targets. And the question is, how long do you want to take to reach those targets? For example, it could be a day, it could be an hour, it could be a week, it could be half an hour, and so on. And there are assets that take a long time to reach that price. I feel like that's the euro, that's the dollar. And you can sit there and it seems like it's about to get there, but then it starts to correct, does something else, and doesn't let you take your profit. And accordingly, instead of, say, the expected hour and a half per trade, like in my case, you end up sitting there for 2 to 3 hours, and then you might start having moments when you begin to doubt whether the price will even reach your target at all. But assets like GER and other similar financial instruments, as a general rule, if they clearly show some kind of strong impulsive movement, then usually it will reliably reach your predetermined targets in the shortest possible amount of time.
That's great. So you prefer a more dynamic style of trading.
Yes, yes, exactly. I don't like just sitting around. Well, first of all, I guess it also depends on the balance you have, for example, at the same prop firm where you trade. So basically what you plan for yourself, for example, how much you want, like what kind of profit you want to make in a month, for example, how many percent you want to add to your deposit. And probably the bigger your balance is, the one you'll be trading with, then maybe you can hold trades for a day or two. But when your balance isn't that big, you want to get in quickly, take your profit, and move on to do your own things. Then
Tell me, is trading your main activity, or do you have some kind of backup plan? I
I've been repairing equipment for a long time now, probably about 10 years. and I'm a bit tired of it already. I've been tired of it for a long time. But as for trading, when I truly got deeply into it, I genuinely realized that it was indeed the singular and most effective path that would ultimately take significantly less time to comprehensively achieve all of my ambitious goals and aspirations. Although that's not guaranteed either, that doesn't mean this path is easy. There was a phrase I heard once back at the very beginning of my learning when I was just getting into all of this. It went something like this: trading is a very hard road to quick money. And I kind of worked through it internally, processed it, and said to myself, okay, I'm fine with that. Whether it's hard or not, where is it really easy to achieve your expectations? I thought that trading was my only lifeline, the only thing that could actually do something for me. And the sooner you start doing it, the better.
The faster you'll succeed.
Yes, yes, the faster you'll get some kind of profit, of course.
Great. And can you share what qualities you have, or maybe life interests or hobbies that help you in trading? By the way, any skills from your job as well. Anything related to repairing equipment from your previous work experience?
Well, I'm not entirely certain how my specific job responsibilities are directly connected to this particular discussion because, in general, my general approach and personal philosophy is that if I undertake any task or project, I always want to accomplish it with considerable speed and efficiency and also with the highest possible level of quality and excellence. That's it. That's my main principle. So, if I sit down to do something, I don't like to drag the process out for too long. I want to do it quickly, hand it over to the person, and have them leave happy with a smile on their face. That's regarding work. And I've chosen the same approach for myself in trading. I should apply the exact same principle to myself. It's all because there's no time for slow dancing, let's put it that way. Take it quickly, leave quickly. So that's how it is. We're always talking about futures trading here because we're not talking about spot. Those who want to buy spot and hope that maybe someday it'll go up or something will happen, let them do that. Maybe if I had billions or millions of dollars, I'd probably do the same. Just put the money in and say, whatever, let it work. What happens to it after that doesn't really matter. But in my case, it doesn't work like that. I need to do everything quickly and efficiently, enjoy the process, and then move on to other things. Other things, for example. What I mean is, if my hobby, for instance, by the way, here's another example. I used to dance. And breakdancing is also quite dynamic. Yeah, it's a pretty dynamic thing. And that's why there too, you don't just go out and start spinning around, showing off whatever you're doing. You go out, show your opponent what you can do. Then you step back, people vote for you. That's it. Next round, we keep going. So that's kind of my approach. Sort of like a sprint principle. We reach the goal, that's it, we rest. Where you can take it easy, that's when you go to KVN, hang out with friends. That's where you can relax. That's the place for it. But when it comes to something where you need to work quickly, where you need to make a quick profit, then just do it fast.
Interesting approach. Continuing with the topic of studies and hobbies, do you think you need any specific knowledge in politics or economics to make trading your main source of income? Or maybe even higher?
I constantly ask myself this one important question after I become stopped out. I always genuinely wonder if I should seriously consider going to study to become some incredibly crazy, high stakes trader, dedicating countless millions of years of my precious life to it, finding myself in my early 30s, surrounded by many much younger, ambitious people, and diligently trying to learn something profoundly new and challenging there. But I realize that it's not necessary because trading isn't about basic knowledge is enough, and it's enough to get a good mentor who will explain a lot to you, who will tell you and share things and lay it out in a way that you can actually use. Spending time at conservatories and something else. Probably it's not necessary because maybe they can teach you the basics there, but you can get the basics from courses as well. You don't need to spend a lot of time on that. But for example, at universities, they probably won't teach you about the current situation happening in the market. They definitely won't teach you that. You'll learn that from people who actually live and breathe this and understanding politics. But if you don't plan to trade solely on news, like trying to catch some wild, blind moves in one direction or another, then you probably don't need it. You just need to know that there's someone out there who can say something, and unfortunately, your plan might go off track because of it. Well, that's enough. You don't really need anything more than that.
Great, thanks for the answer. Let's move on. When did you realize that trading had become a permanent part of your life and not just some temporary interest or a bit of dabbling?
Oh, that's interesting. But I think I realized it when I started working with Roma. I always said, that's it, enough messing around with nonsense.
This is my job.
It's time to take this seriously. Well, yeah. I mean, even before Roma, I used to think, well, first of all, I mapped out some plans in my head, what I want, what I would like to see myself in the future. And I realized that, well, like I can only achieve that thanks to trading. And so we made trading the priority. After Roma, it was finally clear, like, that's it, we're only doing this now.
What made you switch to the prop model instead of classic trading?
But here is the question, what does this mean? What is a classic model?
Well, when you trade your own funds,
Eh, in principle, I immediately found out that there are trial companies. I haven't had anything like that. Well, I found out that they exist.
it wasn't for you.
Open? No, not at all. Honestly, for me, it's really kind of, maybe it was. For me, it's, oh, well, it makes sense. Like, there are companies, we should go there. They help me. How could I do without them? That's it. And I came and didn't consider any other options. I didn't choose. I knew right away that I needed a prop company, and that's it. They'll help you with the deposit that you probably don't have right now. So, well, kind of like a small deposit for to immediately multiply it so you can trade with bigger money. Well, if you have that chance, why not try it?
Yeah, it's a completely different experience. It's great that you immediately cut down a decent
Yeah.
understanding of this.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Tell us how you got started, what your first experience in trading was like, even if it wasn't successful.
Oh, well, that was about my first mentor who just dryly gave me some information, after which I just saw bars and nothing else. Well, probably, I mean, they told me that there are imbalances, there are liquidity zones, some, and I was like, well, okay, fine. And I traded based on them. I was trading. I didn't understand anything that was going on. The market was chaotic. At least that's how it seemed to me. And there was nothing at all. So my first experience was just entering trades. And I would always get stopped out. I didn't understand what was happening. Have you ever experienced some kind of crisis or loss? And at what point did you realize that having a system became more important than intuition? When did that start for you? Yes, that happened when I passed my first prop challenge by scalping pips. That was my first prop, and I passed it. And then when I needed to hold a trade longer, for some reason I decided to trade during the news, and I got wiped out so badly that even the pips couldn't stop my stop loss. It just hit my daily loss limit and closed me out in the red. They just closed my prop account, and I realized that was it. I was done. It was a stupid idea. So I had just gotten it, and 2 days later I blew it. I don't know what was going through my head, but that's how it happened. So having a system is 100% necessary. Without a system and without some kind of trading strategy, well, okay, fine. If you don't approach it with a cool head, if you have emotions in the market, it's better not to do anything. It's better to just skip it. That's all. In other words, don't trade. You absolutely have to stick to your entry model, your indicators, so you can be sure you've done everything right. What precisely happens immediately after that is entirely up to the dynamic market itself.
How do you feel about trading on news now?
It's bad news. You shouldn't do anything there.
Well, can you see? We summed it up.
Yeah, well, I truly and genuinely think now you absolutely have to do it. Actually, in general, you really, truly shouldn't do it at all. You don't, like, it's, if you want to blow your prop account quickly, then go ahead, you can jump right in. So as soon as you start trading on news, well, it's like if you want to go to a casino, then sure, just wait for the news and jump into the ratings or whatever. Isn't that right? Don't do it. Don't do anything. Yeah, exactly. Even that particular person, even myself, where it truly seems like there's incredibly fast, instant price delivery available, I personally don't go there. I politely say, no, thank you. I genuinely don't need that kind of incredibly fast ride or service. So my advice is don't trade on the news.
As I understand it, you've had a lot of experience with prop firms from the very beginning. Have you ever had an experience that revealed their dark side to you, something negative?
I've only heard about it, at least. I don't have any experience myself. Well, I mean, maybe I did have that experience with pips. So the thing is, what was the situation? I thought that if I had a stop in place, then it wouldn't get slipped. There's supposed to be some kind of mechanism that preserves your price, but it closed way too late and no one managed to do anything in time. As a result, the stop closed at a daily level above the daily loss limit. And for some reason, to me, that seems like one of its bad sides because why couldn't they close it at the stop? That to me seems like a dark side. From what I've heard, there are prop firms that don't pay out money. For example, because what's going on there? Like for some unclear reasons, they say that's why we're not paying you. It just looks like someone made a really big profit and it's not profitable for the prop firm to pay it out. Well, it's just not profitable to pay out that amount.
Some new rules. Yeah.
Yeah, they just appear. Yeah. So basically, some new rules show up and you look at them and think, where were they before? Why isn't this written anywhere? And they're like, oh, well, over there, right there, with an asterisk. Yeah, under the asterisk.
What criteria do you use now when choosing a prop firm, and why did you choose the funded way?
Well, the conditions were as simple as possible, I think. Basically, it was the profit you needed to make during the challenge. And of course, the platform you trade on. So the choice of platforms offered. I just don't really like trading on MetaTrader. I just prefer the ones you offered. And it was probably inexpensive too. Well, the package that was available.
Yes, we have competitive prices.
And again, the really excellent responsiveness of the support team always.
Did you get quick responses? Did you have to deal with a bot or not?
No, real people answered.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. Let's slowly move on to the main part of our interview. I'll be asking you more about your strategy, as much as you can talk about it, of course. And let's start with this question. If you had to describe your strategy in 1 minute, how would you do it?
Expansion confirmed, test, second confirm. That's it. As quickly as possible.
Step by step. Can you show us a trade that would most accurately illustrate your logic? Maybe you have an example. Well,
Basically, I wrote out this strategy, most likely yesterday. Yes, yesterday. And it's all very simple. So I have a screenshot here. We see that, first of all, we determine the narrative for ourselves on the daily and hourly time frames. That is whether it's a long or a short narrative. We definitely pay attention to the confirmation that supports our narrative. So if you look at this entire chart on a higher time frame, there is a clear rejection towards long. And what we're seeing now is just a deep correction that was happening. And here, down below, I have this zone marked in blue. It's marked as the area with the lowest point. It was tested, a 3-hour range, a trading range that I have identified for myself. And accordingly, within this trading range, we formed an expansion, meaning the creation of a new low, let's call it that. And after that, I was expecting confirmation. This is actually a 1 minute chart now, right? So what are we doing? On the 50-minute chart, we identified this trading zone, this trading range. Then this acts as our zone. And we switch to a lower time frame and look for confirmation for our narrative. Since it was a long setup, after this expansion, we get the first confirmation at the red mark. Then we move upward. Here we see a small reaccumulation for a move higher, and I highlight it in blue as well. So this is also a zone for me, a trading zone to confirm my narrative. And then I place a limit order in the middle, roughly in the middle of this range. It gets triggered by just a tiny pip. You can see it here in the center. And that's it. After that, it confirms my strategy. Well, the take profit was higher up.
how do you make decisions about take profit and risk balance? And profit? Well,
I always have a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 2. That's like just classic conservative trading, that's all. But sometimes if I'm really confident in my trade, I might risk 1.5%. So if I'm really certain that everything is going my way, like in this particular move, I could have easily risked 1.5%. but I took a conservative approach and risked just 1%.
Don't be greedy.
Don't be greedy, yeah. By the way, that's also true in the market. It's very important to understand that you shouldn't overstay in trades or get greedy. Don't overextend yourself. If the market gives you what you wanted, take it, and that's it. And that's it for today.
Now let's move on to not the most fun part, but one of the most useful. We all know that growth is impossible without mistakes, unfortunately. So let's analyze a trade where the market won.
Here, I had a context in this situation, and gear 40, as I usually trade, that is gear 40, NASDAQ. In fact, I do a lot, but just not this particular thing. But here is one of those classic mistakes. First, there was a move, then consolidation. I had it, and for some reason, I decided that so I set a limit order. For me, it was like the situation was that if it broke out of the consolidation without confirmation, just dropped down, I would take my profit. But it doesn't work like that. So here, I entered without confirmation of my short narrative once again, and that's it. And the most important point is that I entered during lunch. Sometimes if you enter during lunch, specifically in that time frame, somewhere from 11 to about 1, something like that, there's basically no movement at all. It just moves sideways in a range. And you go in thinking like, oh, it's going to break out. Let it be there. So again, you enter without a strategy, just relying on some kind of intuition. And that's it. The market doesn't like that. The market punishes it. That's all.
Yeah, well, I rushed it. Rushed it.
It happens.
Do you ever have losing streaks? Trades like this one, but when they happen, what do you do when that happens? Maybe you have some tools. How do you deal with it? Do you even worry about it at all? I
Try not to do that because most likely if I get stopped out, then I close the chart, try not to trade, and just do some back testing, for example, for a day. And the next day, I probably approach things very carefully so I don't catch another stop loss. Well, I haven't really had any situations where it's just a lose streak. But I remember that before when that happened, it felt like you were the worst trader and you would go back to studying. You'd review the material that was sold to you, well, that was presented to you, and accordingly, you'd do some back testing. You'd back test previous dates and then accordingly reflect on it. You don't think about trading because you're emotional. You want to win back your losses. You need to restore your balance. By the way,
about emotions? Are you good at noticing and catching yourself in the moment when the trading starts? Yes?
it's all right there, everything.
The whole set of markers. Tell me.
Well, it's like you start, and at that moment, you stop seeing the market. So, for example, when you get up in the morning and start analyzing the market, your mind is kind of fresher. And it's not like you see specific targets, but you have a general idea of where to enter and so on. But as soon as you get stopped out, that's it. You think, okay, I got stopped out. Now it's going to go in that direction. So you just jump in, open a trade without any confirmations, without anything, just like that on the move. And that's it. And then the market reverses and you're like, what's going on? And that's it. So as soon as you feel that, you get really nervous, angry, you can really sense it.
Is it not a problem for you to recognize these feelings?
No, 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 you feel it right away, immediately. Your blood pressure rises, especially when you're in a calm state, when you're just relaxed. Actually, in general, whenever you enter the market, you always have some kind of emotional background already. You open a trade and it already starts. It's like, well, come on. That's it.
That's a very important skill.
We approach it with a cool head, only with a cool head, not with the mindset of, I'll hit the jackpot today and go celebrate.
Tell us about your experience going through the challenge. How many attempts did it take you to pass? Were there any tense moments?
After Roman's first training, yes, that is to say, the only thing is that the approach was as smooth as in live trading. Although, well, that's the rule here. There's something interesting about trading challenges. When you trade challenges, you need to complete them as quickly as possible. That is, it is possible to overestimate the risk as if,
Where and how? Still,
well, somewhere perhaps yes. In some cases, the rules might be such that, for example, I heard that even in a challenge, you can't, let's say, risk 2% per trade or more, something like that, just to pass it quickly. You still have to, you always have a limit on the number of days of trading. So I traded the challenge exactly the same way I trade live, probably. In other words, there's no difference, but for me, it's a responsible approach either way.
yes, great. Because challenges are meant to demonstrate your real strategy. Super excellent. What The rules of the law unexpectedly became an advantage for you. Maybe there are some rules that at first seem like limitations, but in the end actually work in your favor.
Well, probably consistency. That's a tough word. When you break it, that's when it gets really disappointing. Why? Because consistency is basically designed so that you trade well over the long run, not so that you just come in.
You can do it, but not well. Well, in many of our challenges, there are no consistency rules at all, or barely any. It's about 40%, which is a very lenient condition, but yes, in some cases it's necessary just to demonstrate your professionalism.
Yeah, that's probably what needed to be said. That's a good, it seems like a good tool so you don't start thinking you're the coolest trader out there.
Yeah, and again, coming back to the topic of trading on news, so that
Yeah, that's what this story is about. Yeah, that's about this story. Like when everything is just going bang bang for you. Well, it was just good there. Really, I just had two trades there that, well, slightly broke it. That's all. But like it threw me off a little. Plus, by the way, it actually saves time. I mean, if you broke it, you need to make more profit. And you think, okay, fine, I'll just make a bit less over the long run. And accordingly, you don't have to sit in front of the charts all day. That's also a key point. Not to overstay, because then you get chart blindness and you can't see anything at all. Again, you just see these bars and that's it.
so you moved from the challenge to the funded account, and let's jump straight to the payout. How does the payout process work? Describe a brief timeline. Were there any checks? Did you encounter any of them? And what became proof of the company's honesty for you?
The payout happened within 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. Before that, they did a KYC check and that's all. Well, I mean, just like in all the usual challenges,
How long did the KYC check take?
a day or two.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the timeline. This is the kind of user experience we're aiming for, I think.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is the best case.
Now let's turn a bit to those who will be watching us. What advice would you give to someone who is just about to take on their first challenge and is watching this interview right now?
Let them not be afraid if they fail it. It's just a challenge, nothing to worry about. Sooner or later, everything will work out the way they want. Trade without emotions and don't trade on the news. That's it. Oh, and one last thing, stick to your strategy.
Listen, that's great because my next question was about 3 rules for getting funded, and you literally just listed them. Let me recap them again. Don't trade on the news and enter trades with a cool head. And
Yes,
the third is to stick to your strategy.
perfect. Stick to the strategy. Yes.
All right, let's wrap things up. I suggest we summarize our meeting with a quick blitz round. Are you ready? Yeah.
Yeah.
Super. Favorite instrument?
Gear 40 NASDAQ.
As we mentioned earlier. A mistake you'll never repeat?
I won't trade on the news.
Once again. The best insight of the past 6 months? Something fresh, anything new? What haven't we mentioned before? What would make you go, wow?
Go to Roma at QTF.
Okay, that works. If you were entering the market today, what would you do first?
Open the chart.
Open the laptop?
No, open the laptop. Yes.
That's a very practical tip. I support that. Did you wake up?
Yeah, I just woke up, then opened my laptop.
Open the laptop. Listen, that's all from me. Thank you so much. Thank you for preparing the trades and sharing your personal experience with us.
Thank you.
We were really glad to talk with you. Once again, you proved to us that everything is simple. You just have to do it.
Yes, trading is simple and it's also hard.
Yes. As they say, I had a certain strategy and I stuck to it.
Yeah. It was a strategy from the very beginning and we stuck to it.
Listen, thank you so much. See you next time. That's why I have one last payment. I'm more than sure of it. I want to wish you resilience and ambition. Thank you.
So much.